It's time for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group with financial advisors Kevin Korhorn, Mike Bernard, and Josh Gregory.
Welcome to another episode of the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group, where every week we're helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. Thanks for being with us, friends. My name is Mike Bernard. I am the host. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. With me in the KFG studios, my business partners and friends, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory.
In your quest for a secure retirement, saving as much as possible into tax-sheltered accounts ensures more of your money stays in your hands instead of going to Washington, D.C., or Michigan, or Indiana, or any other state for that matter, except for Texas and Florida, and South Dakota. But what if you're already maxing your contribution into your 401k? What other options are there? That answer and more on this episode of Wise Money.
What about, do you have to pay your stimulus check back? I mean, that's a fair question. We've got a few other questions about Social Security and a few other things. We're going to get to those questions later on in the program. If you have a question, we'd love to hear from you. You can send us your question a few different ways. First, you can call or text us, 574-222-2000. It's 574-222-2000. You can find us online. Just go to thewisemoneyshow.com and you submit a question right there on the right. You can also check out everything else on the website as well. And if you have needs for your individual situation, you can find the entire Korhorn family right there as well and all of the contact info. And then wherever you're at in social media, we are there as well. You can just search The Wise Money Show, follow us there, and you can leave questions there as well. We're getting a lot of questions submitted to the YouTube channel. And hey, good news about that, I get back to you. I get back to you pretty much the same day with whatever your question is, and then we throw it in the queue here to cover on the show. So leave your questions that way as well. Thank you very much. All right, so we're still in the midst of this confusing time, this pandemic, but it's really also a financial and economic crisis as well. So this topic might seem a little out of context, but it is very applicable just depending on where you're at. And the big question is, when you're saving up for your long-term goals, because investing isn't an end in itself, you're investing for a reason. That's why, one of the reasons why we believe in comprehensive financial planning. Your investments are a section of your overall financial life, helping you reach financial peace and achieve your financial goals. But you want to do so in a very tax-advantaged, tax-efficient way because, like Kevin said, you don't want Uncle Sam reaching their hand in and taking some of your hard-earned money. So if you're maximizing your contributions into your 401k or 403b for tax-sheltered reasons, what else can you be investing in and still in a tax-favored way? What are your other options?
I love this question, and I love the topic and the mere concept of trying to max out your contributions, even in an economic crisis. You know, those who have the boldness and the courage to keep on contributing during a time when maybe you're not 100% certain what the future holds in your particular industry or your particular field or whatever, but you keep on going with what you know is the long-term right action. And it reveals a lot. People who reach out and say, hey, I want to actually be increasing my contributions during this time, it reveals a little bit about what your response to market volatility is. When the market fell sharply, was your knee-jerk reaction to try to scrape together some extra dollars and get it contributed?
Mine, I just would tell you, my flesh was not. We were on the air a month and a half ago, right as the crisis started, and we talked about 5 responses to the stock market uncertainty. And I got to tell you, our very own Kevin Korhorn said, if you are saving into your 401k, you should increase your contributions right now. Try to max your contributions as soon as possible. And I just need to tell you, my brain said, yep, and my heart said, no way. I do not want to do that. And, you know, my crystal ball is still broken, but, as of right now, that was absolutely the best advice.
I love that advice because there are a lot of folks who have been in the pattern of maxing out their contributions to the retirement plan year after year, but there's nothing saying that you couldn't increase it even more and just max it out faster.
Yeah. So you get the max contribution in early, and then what do? I mean, we're talking to that person. If that person bumped up their contributions from, say, 10% to 15%, they're going to have it funded by August.
Right.
In August, now I got this chunk of money freed up. What do I do with it? And I love this conversation. Now, and I would just want to speak to you if you're saying, what do you mean? I can barely put enough money in to get the match. Awesome. Put enough money in to get the match.
Yeah.
Life is not graded on a curve. It's an absolute scale. So if someone else can max out their 401k and it has tons of money to spare, that should not make you either more happy or more miserable, right? So don't compare what you're doing with anyone else. Look at your own situation and be content in that. And if you're not content, do something about your situation.
Yeah.
But making someone who has resources have less resources will never make you happier.
Yeah, that's true. And in my opinion, it could also be a time to be inspired by what other people are able to do right now. Because this isn't the last bear market that you're going to live through. There's going to be other major buying opportunities in your life. And the question is, how will you respond at that time? Will you be in a financial position where you could go max out your 401k?
And one more point on that. People are saying, well, wait a minute. I don't really know if I should be putting money into my 401k at this time. Yes, you should.
Yeah.
Yes, when the stuff's on sale, that's when you should buy.
All right, let's level the playing field. So your contribution limits, this is the maximum contribution to a 401k, 403b, and depends on your income, right? But the limits are $19,500 if you're younger than 50, and if you're 50 or older, it's $26,000. That is the limit. The limit is not a percentage of your pay. It used to be that way back when, but there's still that thinking. Some people say, well, I can only contribute up to 25% of my pay. No, that's not true anymore, for the most part. And a lot of people think the maximum I can contribute is the amount up to get the full match. No, that's not it either. That's a partition in your thinking. You got to have a paradigm shift. Yeah, you certainly want to get the full match, but the maximum contribution to get all the tax goodies and save as much as you can into this plan for retirement is $19,500 or $26,000.
Yeah, that's what the IRS says that you're allowed to contribute. And there's one more limitation that might apply to some people, and that's if your particular retirement plan at work has some sort of limitation in it itself. There are some of you that maybe are sales folks or upper level managers who are limited in your contributions based on the contributions of everybody else in the organization. So there are some folks who, unfortunately, they don't get to go all the way up to that 19,500 number that Mike was just sharing. They're limited to something smaller.
Okay.
Right. And not that this really matters, but if you don't have a safe harbor plan, you may be tested out and you actually might get some money back every year.
Yeah, that's frustrating to
So
people.
anyway, there are ways to, if you have questions about your retirement plan, call us because we can help you with the design of that and get your plan document fixed.
All right, so you've contributed the maximum by August. Mm-hmm. What's your very next go-to? Mine is the HSA. Mine is the HSA because the HSA, health savings account, is the rare instance, I believe it's the only one in the tax code, where you get tax benefits going in, pre-tax. It's growing tax-free, if it's growing at all, and then you pull the money out for qualified reasons tax-free. That's the only plan that I know of that does that.
Yeah, we've done entire shows about the health savings account, and it doesn't apply to everybody. You have to be a part of the right type of health insurance plan through your employer or on your own through the marketplace. But if you have that one at your disposal, a lot of people think of a health savings account as just another reimbursement type account. It actually can be an investment vehicle as well.
So that's the first place I'd look. Josh is right. It doesn't apply to everyone. If it applies to you, you got to consider it, but you got to change your thinking on this as opposed to just a reimbursement tool to an actual savings tool. My list, and I know Josh and Kevin, they have a list as well. I've got 7 other things to consider after you max your 401k. So that and more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being with us. This is the Wise Money Show. You're at the Wise Money Show channel. Kevin's laughing at me for some reason. What did I say?
You little stinker. Because you put the list and you had your top one isn't on the list.
I know. Come
what
on.
a weasel.
That's right. That's right. Hey,
Hold back, man.
thanks for being here. If you're not a subscriber, I want to encourage you to subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. What you're watching right now is our full-hour weekly radio show that airs every Saturday morning on a couple of radio stations in northern Indiana. But you get that full episode and the breaks right here, bonus content on this channel. But then you also get all of the next wise steps, all of the financial nuggets that we drip to you every single business day as well. So make sure you subscribe, leave comments below as well. We appreciate it. All right.
Story of our lives, Mike.
What's that?
Kevin and I trying to just pick up the scrap ideas after you've got the good ones there.
Well,
Hey, I could this whole Roth IRA backdoor IRA thing. I mean,
you got a story?
well, there's a ton there. That's like 3 shows.
I know.
But I think to me, my brain goes to order of operations, right? And I always thought, why do I have to take algebra? Why do I have to take this stuff? But it actually helps right now. What is the order of operations? And it was actually kind of cool doing a little research and seeing what do other people say about this, because there are some places that say, hey, just go up to the match in your 401k, then fully fund your IRA, and then get a side hustle and fund an SEP.
I don't think we're going to have time to hit this on the actual air. So here's a little bonus content. I completely hate that advice. I mean, if we're not human,
How do you feel, Mike?
seriously, so conventional wisdom, and I know where it's coming from, is get the full match in your 401k, then pivot and do your own thing, and then once you're above that, then you can get into other programs. And I suppose if there isn't a thing as kind of human nature or individual behavior, then sure, you could do that. But most people, that just adds enough complexity to your saving, which is one of the most important financial habits that you have. It adds just enough friction, just enough complexity that it makes it hard to pull off. And then if you can't pull off saving enough money or saving as much as you possibly can, that means a big difference and what you can achieve financially long term.
Sure. And there, I mean, as I read through some of these, it looks fascinating on paper. It's kind of like if you've ever sat in a group of people and someone comes up with an idea and you think, man, that's a great idea. And then you go out and try and do it and it's like, oh my word, what a horrible idea. So I think, all right, if all you wanted to think about was your own financial mechanisms and building wealth, then that's fine. But I say, no way, baby. Max that 401k.
I agree.
Then,
Yeah,
and you put the HSA before the IRA.
I did.
So are we going to talk about the savings HSA versus the investment HSA? Or
I
just
feel like
keep rolling?
We probably need to keep rolling. I mean, we can give it a quick mention, but just like you said, even with the backdoor or Roth, I mean, that's a full show. It's a full show. It's not.
Right.
It's not this full show.
Right. So, but the question is, are we taking this?
Yeah, we're gonna keep going with this list.
But what to do after maxing out your 401k? Is this for tax benefits or for investment purposes?
Both.
Okay, let's pick one.
No. And then we'll
I
flow.
think that distinction probably needs to be teased out, though.
Yeah, and then we'll
We guys stop teasing me.
flow into hopefully in this segment we'll flow into. All right, what if you don't even have that 401k?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I talked with some folks last night. He doesn't have a retirement plan at work.
yeah,
And you're like, wait a minute, that does exist. Statistically, it exists way more than you'd ever think.
all right, ready? If you are saving the maximum amount that you possibly can into your 401k or 403b or whatever retirement plan you have at work, what's next? If you're still marching towards that retirement savings goal and you've got additional money to save up, where do you do so in a tax advantage way? We're running through our top list to help you take your next wise step today. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being with us. My name's Mike Bernard. Here with me in the KF2 studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. To catch the entire episode of this show and all previous shows, you'll find the Wise Money Show on podcast wherever you listen. Just go to wherever you listen to podcasts and search the Wise Money Show. You'll find us there. Subscribe to it, rate the program, and even leave a comment below. We appreciate it. So, all right, we're talking about if you're saving the maximum amount into your 401k or 403b or whatever it is you have at work, what's next? What's the next best plan? And we already said, even in these tough times, very, very important to continue that habit of saving. So even if you're not maximizing the contributions, we just want to encourage you, keep saving during this time. Keep saving. And even if it's tight, maybe you can even save a little bit more if that's the right step in your financial life. But all right, let's keep going. We said the HSA.
That's the key, though, right there. You gave the answer. It's what is the next right step in your financial life? It's according to your financial plan, right? Because there are some folks who, to be maxing out your 401k gets that retirement goal handled. Mm-hmm. And to contribute more for retirement may be overkill. Who knows? It's still advice that you'll hear every financial professional give, that you should keep on saving additional money. Maybe it's for tax purposes. Maybe it's because it's a great buying opportunity. It could also just be for the sake of making sure you don't spend too much. If you earn a lot, you have the ability to spend a lot. But you also need to save a lot, because someday when that income stops, you're going to have maybe a certain habit or a certain lifestyle baked in, and it's going to take a big sum of money. So this is a really important topic. How do you turn your attention from the retirement plan to the next tool? In my mind, it goes into probably the Roth IRA. What do you think would be next?
Well, my oh my. I'm thinking of the 6 areas of financial planning, and at the risk of repeating what you said, I'm wondering, are we talking, when people are listening, are you hearing retirement planning? Because if you're like, I'm not really concerned about retirement planning. The other area that this addresses is tax planning. Mm-hmm. So Mike went from the 401k at work, and I want to just talk to you. If you don't have a 401k at work, you don't have any retirement plan at all, there are ways, if you're self-employed, to set up your own. And that's something that a financial planner, make sure they're certified, can help you with. And there are also IRAs. So you can do, just so everyone knows, you can do a 401k, and that bucket is big, and you can do an IRA. No matter who you are, you can fund both of those. Mike said go from 401k or retirement plan at work to HSA. Joshy says go from the retirement plan at work to the HSA. I would say IRA.
Traditional IRA or Roth?
It's quite possible it needs to be a traditional, because if I can fully fund my retirement plan at work, I probably have an amount of income that might put me above the limit to fund a Roth IRA. So I would fund even when the IRA contribution limit was $2,000. We had folks, and we said fund it, put after-tax money into that IRA. The tax deferral is so powerful for you and your financial situation that it will be worth it. And over time, what we've been able to do is separate out the earnings from the basis, and then take the basis, the after-tax basis, and do a backdoor Roth IRA.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does to me, but that sounds
It sounded like poetry to me. I love that.
Okay.
If that doesn't make any sense to you, contact your certified financial planner. I mean it. Obviously I'm joking here that it doesn't make any sense, but it really doesn't to the average person. It's like, what are you talking about? Really?
Listen, it is the beautiful game. They some people say football, or as we call soccer, is the beautiful game, and I am declaring financial planning is the beautiful game.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to figure out the right step for you, and I wouldn't disagree with you, Kevin. If you're eligible to contribute dollars directly into the Roth IRA, I'd probably put that ahead. But contribute to an IRA, the right one for you, whether that's Roth or traditional, I think would be next.
Why do you lean towards the Roth over the traditional?
Because I want to argue with Kevin.
No, if you can, for sure, do it. Maybe. But this is where this is why your tax plan has to work with your investment plan and your retirement plan. And your present financial position. So that's 4 of the 6 areas of CFP right there.
But if you're someone who's watching what's going on right now in this environment and the kind of money that's being borrowed and the kind of money that's being printed, you may be thinking to yourself, man, someday we're going to pay for this. And someday
you may be thinking, I'm probably moving to Costa Rica or some island nation someday.
No, if you believe that the tax picture in this country might get more painful in the future than it is right now, then the Roth IRA should be one of your best friends, because the bigger the pool of money that you have that you can draw off of in retirement down the road when you have no tax bill attached to that money, that is such a powerful tool, and unfortunately, not enough people are utilizing it.
I was having a good day until you talked about taxes in the future. Jeez, golly. So after the IRA or the Roth, here's one out of left field. I'd put it next, your spouse's 401k if they're not maxing it. Your financial life, if you're married, it is your financial life. You guys are together. You are together. It's your household. And oftentimes, I don't know, guys, if you've seen this as well, oftentimes as we're counseling couples on their financial strategies, financial wisdom, one might be maximizing, but the other person maybe is just working part-time or whatever, and they're putting in a chunk, but their income is less, so they think, I can't, I'm not able to max this thing out. No, your income, it's all coming into the same pot. It's all coming into the family. And so if there's extra dollars to be saving up, let's just have both of you max out your 401k.
That's right. And a family with 2 incomes that are capable of maxing out the 401k. To Kevin's point, you're probably in a high enough tax bracket that's a pretty attractive tax savings by utilizing the spouse's plan as well.
Yeah, a lot of times one of the spouses in that scenario, it's not uncommon, one spouse that might make a lot of money and the other spouse doesn't. And so they think, well, in order for the spouse that's not making as much money to have some money, we probably should be careful about how much they put into the retirement plan. No, zero out that paycheck. If you have the resources, zero out the lower earning spouse's paycheck and put it all in the retirement plan. If you're a business owner, you may want to, and your wife or husband don't work outside the home, you might want to put them on payroll if you can justify that and get them maxing out.
You know, a scenario where we've really leaned heavily on both spouses' retirement plans in the past is when maybe you receive an inheritance, a pool of money that it's after-tax money, already been taxed, you receive it, and it gives you the ability to suddenly start cranking up those retirement plan contributions to a level that you've never been able to do before. Now, all of a sudden, you can max it out. The tax savings to you could be pretty powerful.
I absolutely agree. And I think about, your financial advisor, your certified financial planner delivers at least 3 things. I mean, it's all wrapped into financial wisdom is really what it is, but it's clarity, confidence, and creativity. And this is the creativity that I think a lot of people are probably lacking if they're doing it themselves or not working with the CFP. So we've got a couple more things on our list. And then I want to hit further what Kevin said. What if you don't have a 401k at work? What do you do? So that and more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. I've pushed the boundaries on the last couple. Lindsay, are you able to make that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you look at page 3 of the Helpline, Josh?
Yeah.
What's it say?
The topic you teased out already?
I foreshadowed.
I know. It's all good. That is all right. Okay. So here's a touch more bonus content. We were teasing a little bit when Kevin brought up the IRA and doing after tax and so on. But I cannot tell you what a meaningful strategy that is. And I, the teasing, I hope didn't come out on the air as belittling that strategy, because that's one of the things that is a creative solution for a lot of people at a time when they're looking for creative solutions. You've maxed out your 401k and you don't have an HSA, or you're already maxing that because your company's helping to fund that, and then you're looking and saying, what else can I do because I'm getting gouged with taxes and I want to continue saving up. Like Josh said, you've got big income and you spend reasonably for your income, but that means you got to save a lot. And this idea of after-tax funding your IRA and then managing how you can kind of splice that up and get that basis into a Roth, I mean, that is a powerful strategy, especially when it's coupled with your 401k, doing after-tax savings into your 401k. So if you're flying solo, you're probably watching because you're interested in finance, and so you like to dabble in it. If you're flying solo without a CFP, this is why every show, multiple times, we tell you, you got to contact your certified financial planner. If they're just trying to sell you stuff, watch out. But if they're doing comprehensive financial planning, they're going to help you with these strategies.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the business owners that I met with in 2000 or something like that, and they had $11,000 that they'd saved in a couple of different IRAs. And I said, hey, let's get going. And they're like, well, the best thing that we can do is put all of our money into the business. And I said, well, that's good, but better is diversifying. So now they've got $1.5 million on this. And all they ever did was put money into their retirement plans. And every year when we get together around tax time, I'd say, hey, do you want to fund an IRA for last year? Well, they had a simple IRA at work, and they'd funded after-tax IRAs, which you can't separate the egg from the yolk that way. So we set up a 401k for them. We rolled the gain into the 401k. We had the after-tax portion, and then lo and behold, and let's just say maybe about $30,000 in each of basis, they came up with some real estate they wanted to buy. And they're like, well, where are we going to get the real estate? I'm like, your Roth IRA right here.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have any other bucket to pull it from. It was right there. I'm like, well, I kind of like to let that money grow forever. But guess what? It's there for a purpose.
Yeah.
And this was, in the market was up. I'm like, take it.
Yeah.
So you never know when you're going to want to have those buckets available to you.
If you've made it this long watching the show on YouTube, I don't want you to miss what Kevin just said. As a certified financial planner, CFP, the founder of this company, owns the business, gave a clue into where our advice comes from. And that is, someone had a goal, they were doing well with their other financial goals, and he said, take this money out and do something that you want to do with it. That's the advice that you get from your CFP that's doing comprehensive planning. I think most people just think, well, any financial advisor is just going to always be grabby. You don't take this money out, and in fact, give me more. But no, not your CFP who's doing comprehensive planning.
Right. Because we're about winning, right? And we're winning if the client's winning. And the first in the first CFP book is the A word, altruism. Mm-hmm. And so you say, well, then you just put your client's interest ahead of yours and trust it'll all work out.
That's right. The client determines what the win is. What game are you playing?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the goals that they've set.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we tell clients we're not worried about it. God's our provider. We'll be fine.
All right. Okay. So segment 3, we're doing 9:15, and we got to kind of wrap this topic up somewhat neatly. So we're going to hit who can hit rapid fire after-tax 401k, individual account, pay off your mortgage, but really it's after-tax 401k, individual account, and then really just lift your head up and make sure there aren't other things in your financial life or whatever. Like, who can hit the last bit of their list really, really quickly?
I don't mind.
Okay.
Why don't you hit after-tax and individual? I'll hit mortgage, and I've got one more.
Great.
Are we going to hit 529 plan?
You will.
Kids Roth IRAs?
You hit... Okay, so look, you hit 529 and Kids Roth. It sounds like Kids Rock. And then I'll hit after-tax, individual, mortgage, and my third one.
All right. And even if it takes all the time to just get through that list, we'll make it work.
So I'm going to be collaborative. I mean, I'm going to be doing speed round, but if you have something, give me a signal.
Got it. Can you put after-tax money into your 401k? Well, that's a silly question. Why would you even want to do that even if you could? Well, we'll tell you in just a second. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being with us. My name is Mike Bernard. Here with me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is right there on the Wise Money YouTube channel. You get the entire episode, every past episode. You get bonus content and daily financial nuggets, next wise steps that you need to take in your financial life. So go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to that channel, turn on notifications, and give us that thumbs up. We appreciate that. All right, we're wrapping up the conversation of if you're contributing the maximum amount to your 401k or 403b or retirement plan at work, what do you turn to next if you still have some more dollars to be saving towards that retirement goal? So what else is on the list, guys?
Well, in the last segment, we were talking about whether or not you should contribute to a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. Anyone can contribute to a traditional IRA. It doesn't matter how big your income is, how wealthy you are. Anyone can contribute, but not everyone gets a tax write-off for doing so. And when your income's too high, you can still contribute, but it's considered an after-tax contribution. So you've already paid tax on that money. Now it's invested. And it's growing, but you'll eventually pay tax on that growth unless you do something called a Roth conversion. And so often, it's a strategy to get money into this after-tax IRA. It doesn't give you any upfront benefit, but it positions money into an account that could then be converted into a Roth IRA, which you've heard us talk about all the time. You can even do similar strategies within your 401k. Those after-tax contributions there are also pretty powerful. If you've already done all that and you still have goals that you're trying to achieve, directing money towards things like 529 plans. In Indiana, we love the Indiana plan because it offers you a tax credit for the first $5,000 that you contribute, and that translates into $1,000 staying in your pocket instead of going to the tax man.
Not only that's powerful, but the 529 plan is also growing tax deferred. And if you're helping with college, then you pull those dollars out; those gains come out tax free. And if you're the financial situation where you're trying to save up as much as possible and avoid Uncle Sam's hand getting too grabby, then that tax deferral is very meaningful to you as well. So what else?
Didn't you guys see that college is canceled forever?
Oh, don't no.
Sorry. Okay.
Or it's going to be
Just
free
joshing.
to this group of people or this group of people. My goodness. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Save us, Kevin. What else is on your list?
I've got a couple. So Josh said after-tax 401k. I like that because if I think I may be leaving this company at some point in time, that's a great way to hedge my bets. So I've got some after-tax money in my 401k. If I do leave the company, I roll that out, and I've got a little bit of a nest egg that I can touch with no problem.
Or you can put it directly in your Roth
Right.
and have it grow tax.
So
forever.
we separate things between qualified and non-qualified. Just to confuse
Tax
people
jargon,
and create
right?
some jargon. And make people feel like there's no way they can figure any of this stuff out. So that means basically when you say qualified, it means I get some sort of tax benefit for putting the money in this account. I think that's qualified. And then non-qualified is, no, I just open up an account. The easiest way, a non-qualified account's a savings account, right? I got a savings account. You can open a brokerage account or any kind of non-qualified account. You can save there. There are a few other things you could do. You could pay additional on your mortgage. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to folks right now, and they're saying, "Hey, what's the play here? What's a smart thing to do?" Well, before you did any of this, you were making sure that your cash reserves were adequate and sufficient. But this might be a good time. We don't know how long this is going to go. But there may be some opportunities. There was a time between 2010 and 2012 when the banks were loaded up on real estate that they had foreclosed on, and they were giving it away. I continue to read articles about the people that loaded up on Airbnb houses, and when Airbnb was a thing and it actually worked, they could pay their mortgages.
Yeah.
But now they can't pay their mortgages, and so beware if you have a plan that works when everything works. That might not be a great plan. You might want to have a contingency that in the event that not everything works, and people say, well, if I wouldn't have a business plan that had the contingency of a global pandemic and a worldwide recession baked into the plan. That's true, but you need to be able to pivot. For those people that aren't going to pivot, they're going to be losing. And when you play Monopoly, the houses go back to the bank at half.
Yeah.
What you paid for them.
Kuiper's teaching me that right now. Okay, so all of this needs to be wrapped in. I mean, we need to start with comprehensive financial planning because you truly need to find out how much do you need to be saving to reach your retirement goal, and then you find out where are the best places to save that money. And so just make sure you don't get the cart before the horse. It is fun and exciting to be saving at times, and it's probably one of the most important financial habits that you have, but don't get the cart before the horse. Make sure you're doing comprehensive financial planning.
Well, and keep in mind also that once you've made that decision on what your goal is, how you're going to be saving for it, you have to begin investing as well. And there are a lot of people whose confidence has been completely shaken right now. Maybe this is your first bear market that you've ever lived through, and you had no idea that it could be this sharp of a decline. Nobody did, actually. But these things pass, and these are temporary declines. And it's important, even in this environment, to not look at your Roth IRA or your 401k and say, man, that was a crummy investment. No, these tools are not an investment themselves. They're just a bucket for you to pile money into for the long term and then make some great financial decisions with the investments inside. If you're not confident in the investment decisions that you've been making in those accounts, maybe it's time for you to seek an extra set of eyes, get an outside opinion, someone who can help make sure maybe those investments you've selected are the perfect ones actually for your goal. They're the perfect funding mechanism. They just happen to be down right now. Yeah. And that's where you can borrow the courage or the confidence of a professional who can help steer you through this storm.
So really quickly here, Kevin has already sort of brought it up, but if that's the list, if you have a 401k or 403b or a retirement plan through work, simple IRA, what if you don't? What if you don't have that starting block there? And if you own a small business, you can start your own plan. Work with the CFP to get that started. But can I change my answer? I mean, if you don't own a small business and you don't have a 401k at work, I don't think I would start with the HSA. Just because it's so stinking tempting and easy to dip your hands in there and then you're pulling money out. And although it's very possible here with KFG, it's typically not very easy to invest in HSA. You can do so with us. We can take care of you. I think I'd start with the IRA, the Roth or traditional, whichever makes the most sense in your situation, if you don't have a 401k available to you at work.
And even if there's just one of you working, as long as your household, if you're married, your household has $12,000 in income or $14,000 if you're 50 plus, you can fund the one for the person working, and you can fund one for your spouse as well. And a lot of times there's some confusion about that because you say, well, I can do $7,000, but my spouse who doesn't work outside the house can't do that. And you say, nope, you can both do it.
And then I would typically then go back down that list. It's IRA, so it's traditional or Roth, and then I'd probably do HSA. Then you're probably looking at funding an individual account, but again, you're looking at your entire financial life, all 6 areas wrapped together to see what do you need to do to reach your goals. A lot of people struggle with saving 15% into retirement if they don't have a 401k, but there are options. Work with your CFP to get there. All right, we've got some great questions from fans of the show. That and more coming up here on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. All right, this is fun. Good show. All right, let's have, let me just There's touch other bonus content, but we're going to have a short break.
Good.
Just got this email 6 minutes ago. Good morning. Hope you guys are safe and so on. Just received this communication from our vice president of the company. Starting May, at least through the end of December, all salary employees will see a pay cut of X percentage. Starting this date, there will no longer be a company match. Starting this date, any PTO will be paid out at that lower salary rate, and there will be no pay raises for the foreseeable future. And that is from one of, I think, the second or third largest employer in the area. So it's real. It's real, guys. I mean, this is the crazy thing. I feel a little schizophrenic. And so do I. That, you look in the stock market went way down, and now it's come way back, and you're hearing the news reports that we're going to be back. We're going to be back. I mean, we're going to reopen and all that sort of stuff. And so you get this, half of you says, all good. And then you get the email like this, or the email from someone who is going to sell their business for $3 million in January and said, nah, I'll just keep running it. Sends the email and says, if I don't get that PPP loan, I'm going to close. I mean, that's where we're at. We're in this weird
it is
dichotomy here.
It is very, very strange. And some, if you're making drugs, or you're have a lab where you're figuring out a drug, you're probably as busy as you've ever been. And there are some businesses and some industries that are absolutely thriving, and some businesses and industries that are absolutely dying right now. And the things that are being wasted right now. This past weekend in the Journal, they talked about 1 million gallons of beer that's going to expire because it was prepared for St. Patrick's Day and the NCAA tournament, which never happened this year.
Yeah.
And so that's $1 billion. Well, they've got to they can't just pour that down the drain, because the effects it would have on the fish and
oh my goodness, really?
Yes, you got to think about all that stuff. Well, who thinks about that?
No, not me. And speaking of, this was early on, but I mean, we're all familiar with Black Friday, and this is inaccurate, but the wives' tale is that, well, that's when retailers go from red to black, go from having a loss all year. That's when they make their money. And that's not exactly true. But in concept, it's close. Well, the Black Friday for these types of restaurants that would sell beer, right? Bars or sports pubs or whatever. I mean, their Black Friday comes in St. Patrick's Day and the NCAA tournament. Truly. One of my friends who owns is part owner in several 70-some restaurants said, I mean, that's it. We sort of break even or lose money throughout the year. We make tons of money during those couple weekends, and that didn't happen. So
it's a big deal.
There's no, I don't know. I don't know how you fix that. There's no PPP for that. I mean, they're
still sounds nutty to me. So okay. So,
right.
So what are we going to do in segment 4?
Should we wrap up and then go to listener questions?
Sure.
Is there much wrap up?
Well, I mean, we can.
Let's just transition to questions.
Say what we said again and be redundant again.
Let's just get into questions. We got 13 minutes. You're already prepared for them, but if you want to look at them, they're in the question bank.
The bank is open.
All right. Ready? Can I contribute money into an IRA if I'm on Social Security? That sort of fits into the topic that we've already been talking about. Got that answer coming up. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being with us. My name's Mike Bernard. Here with me in the KFG studios, as always, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. You can follow all of the content for Wise Money anywhere you're at on social media. You'll find us. Just search the Wise Money Show. Follow us there, like us there, leave comments there. and all of that. And then you can also just find us online, wisemoneyshow.com. You can leave questions right there. Every episode's right there on an online media player you can listen to while you're at work, quote unquote, working from home. No, focus. Get your work done. But every episode's right there as well. And then all the other content, you want to check out the team at KFG. You want to reach out to us because you've got personal needs. We can help. You'll find us right there as well. So wisemoneyshow.com. All right. We are going to transition to questions from fans of the show. First one comes from a fan in Mill Creek. And here's what they asked. Do you have to pay the stimulus check that you received back? My family received a total of $3,400. We just have it sitting in the bank because we're thinking we're going to need to pay that money back.
Isn't this the number one fear with the government giving you something? There's always this fear that there's a gotcha attached to it or some sort of strings attached, like it's some sort of a loan or something, or you can enjoy it for a little while, but you'll pay for it in the end. Thankfully, this truly is a tax credit that's going to apply to your 2020 tax return. And if it turns out that the government sent you a check that you really weren't going to be eligible for in 2020, the word is they're not going to make you pay it back.
When I first heard this, I thought, no, they'll take it back. I mean, this is the government, for crying out loud. And then they came out and said they weren't going to. Now, I trust them as far as I can throw them, but they say that you're not going to have to pay it back. So now, is keeping it in the bank a good choice for you? Well, it might be a safe choice right now. Because if they do something squirrely or change some of the tax laws, you've got the dollars right there. But I would tell you, talk to your certified financial planner to find out if that's the right place for it. But to the immediate concern, do we have to pay it back? The current answer is no. Now, let's twist this a little bit, because I had this question just come to me yesterday. I believe I know the answer, but my goodness, rules are changing every day. In 2019, we faced some tough economic circumstances. We took some money. Now, this isn't me. This is a client that reached out. Took some money out of our IRA, so our AGI was $200,000. Didn't get a stimulus check. Will I get it in 2020 when I file will I get it next year when I file my tax return? I'm saying that answer is yes. It's a 2020 tax credit.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. It'll be captured on this year's tax return if it turns out that you are eligible and that your income's not too high based on those thresholds that they set. They're just looking backwards at your 2018 or 2019 return to decide who they're going to proactively send the money to. If you didn't get a proactive check here in the spring dropped into your bank account, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get one eventually if you ultimately are eligible.
Yeah, and this brings up all kinds of amazing questions. One that we're dealing with right now is my dead relative received a stimulus check. What should we do with that?
Yeah.
And Treasury Secretary Mnuchin says, can you imagine? I sometimes think going through the world with the last name of Korhorn is a challenge. But start your name with an M and then go right to N. Mnuchin. So anyway, so what do you do with all these things? But I think if we had, to Josh's point, that money is yours. Use that money. The top 5 things. What are the top 5 things we do with that money? Here's what I would do. I'd make sure that my cash reserves are in place. Mike just said in the bonus content, he was talking about a scenario where there are some drastic cuts going through at a big employer in the area. So pay cuts and other things. And if the pay cuts don't work, they're going to start cutting people, and they'll cut them permanently. And this happened in 2008 and 2009, where the businesses that survived were the businesses that were nimble and were willing to make the changes that it took to be able to survive.
That means the individuals need to be nimble, right? And so yeah.
Right. So this money should help you increase your nimbility.
Well said. And okay, so go back to the deceased person received the check. Mnuchin says what?
He says, you should return it to the feds. And I'm assuming that's the likely answer, but I'm also assuming that there are lots of people that are going to cash that check, baby.
Here's the thing. That sounded like a suggestion from him. And so I thought, well, no thanks. But here's where I think the gotcha is. When you file a tax return, you actually have to put in the date of death. And my guess is, if it's probably already out there and I just haven't seen it, but if you passed away at this date or after, and you got a check, we're taking it back. Well, they've got record of that, even as disorganized as they are, and so they will do a recapture. It's my guess.
It doesn't seem any different than a Social Security check landing in a deceased person's bank account.
And they yank it
the 2 weeks after.
That
money gets paid back too.
Sure, but what I'm saying is, if I filed an 18 tax return, I died in 19. My final tax return didn't get filed for 19, so they're basing it on my 18.
But
remember, this is a 2020 credit.
Yeah, but
you weren't alive in 2020.
Yeah, but there's going to be no 2020 recapture because you're done. That sounds like finding a 20 in the old jeans there. You might have just found some money. I think so. I think so, and but here's the thing: we got to move on here. But when they push this stimulus through, we were saying there is so much bureaucracy, there's so much complexity. We live in a complex system. There's so much complexity. I don't know how they're going to facilitate this so quickly, and they did. And we knew it was going to be rife with errors. And I actually think they've handled the errors pretty well, all things considered. There's been a bunch, and if you're on the wrong side of it, you might disagree with what I just said. But this is one that, hey, the error fell in your favor. I don't know.
Okay, so can we just do the speed round of the top 5 things to do with your stimulus? So make sure your cash reserves are right. You want to have adequate cash reserves. This might encourage you as you're looking at your budget to say, hey, we've got enough money to pay the rent. We've got enough money to pay the mortgage. We've got enough money to pay whatever we need to pay for a season here. Number 2, I would pay down your highest interest debt with some or all of it. And that's after I've got my cash reserve right. I would look at my debt snowball. If you don't have one, Google debt snowball. And
contact us. Contact your CFP.
Yeah, contact your CFP. Absolutely. Get some creativity going in your financial life. Number 3, I would fund anything that's not funded. You could listen to the first 3 segments of the show to get an idea. But retirement plan at work, IRA, HSA, 529, go ahead, guys.
You just gave all the answers and then said, here, go ahead, try to add something. Sheesh, that's as bad as Mike. Taking the best answer and then saying, here, you can have the scraps.
I think I would say the rest just depends on your overall financial life. I mean, you got to look at maybe funding the 529 plan a little bit. You got to look at, paying down mortgage. Yeah, I mean, just depends on your financial situation.
I had a pretty inspiring client recently say, because we help them get the stimulus or get these recovery checks by just being careful in the way that we file their returns. And she was so excited because now she could help her neighbor who was going to be out of work and was struggling financially. And she thought, okay, we have some projects that we could hire him to help out with or whatever. So even looking beyond your own balance sheet or your own financial life, there are some people who are using this money to just do some good. And it's refreshing.
That is refreshing. I can contrast that with some family friends who said, sweet, we have enough money to buy a Peloton.
All right. So we're going to transition to a question that Bert left on the website. Is a while back, but so good. So if I start drawing Social Security at age 62, but I keep working, can I lower my taxable income by contributing to an IRA or 401k or other retirement account to avoid paying the penalty for being over the allowable income amount for Social Security? Wow. Bert, what a great question, and it almost warrants being the headliner topic on a future program. I think it might, because there's a lot here.
A lot of topics related to that one. A lot of people don't realize that if you begin drawing Social Security before your full retirement age, whatever that is, based on when you were born, say it's age 66 right now, If you start Social Security too early, you're now limited in the amount that you can earn before the government starts pulling back, clawing back some of your Social Security benefits. And early retirement age begins at age 62 for most people. It can be even as early as age 60 if you've lost your spouse and you're drawing off of theirs. But this limitation on your income, it's based on your gross wages, so the amount that you're earning from your paycheck. Yes, you absolutely can contribute to a 401k or to a traditional IRA, and yes, that will save you money in taxes, but it will not have an impact on this penalty calculation that the government's doing.
Right, and that's when you look at your W-2, that's where you want to look at the different boxes, because then you look at box 1 and box 3 and box
5,
7, 10, 14, 72.
Yeah, the first two.
Yeah, but right, so you want to look at those boxes because that's where, and it's very confusing because I was talking with a client about this week, and we were talking about ordinary income and capital gains because the different types and kind of character of income, and she had no idea what we're talking about because it doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So this is where, because it would be logical if I make above a certain amount, then my Social Security is being brought back or clawed back, and you say, well, all right, if I make above a certain amount but put it into a retirement plan, I just brought the amount that I made down. Well, kind of yes, but no.
Right, yeah. And the IRA for sure isn't going to help there. But, this is something, Bert, I mean, you're showing some real awareness here because you're talking about the penalty. Oftentimes people confuse early Social Security with penalty and tax. They confuse those two. Those are two different things. And I actually just made a note. I do think I'm going to add that to the list of future headliner topics because you got to be aware of both of them.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I was just working with a client who said, hey, I'm 62. I'm laid off. I'm just going to retire. I'll go work for myself and draw Social Security. I'm like, well, look, you just defeated the purpose. I mean, if you're drawing Social Security and you're going to go work for yourself and make 50 or 60 grand, it's not going to work.
That's exactly right. Helped a lot of people in that situation. So thanks for the question, Bert. And all right, that is all the time we have for today. I hope that was helpful. On behalf of Josh Gregory, Kevin Korhorn, and myself, and all of us at KFG, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group.
Securities offered through Silver Oak Securities, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through KFG Wealth Management, LLC. Doing business as Korhorn Financial Group. KFG Wealth Management, LLC and Silver Oak Securities Incorporated companies are unaffiliated.